Evening, everyone. We are back.
We are back.
We are not going to let the devil stop us tonight,
Not
okay?
tonight.
I told Pam the reason why was because I forgot in all these times to pray first. And that's got to be what it is. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and go into prayer, Pam.
Right.
Lord, tonight we come before you thanking you with humble hearts and open minds, praying
Yes.
for each and every person that is on this line, Lord. Thank you for your daily provisions, Lord, that you provide for us each and every day. Lord, we bind any further distractions that may come on this line, Lord, and we just want more of you and less of us. Lord,
Yes.
season my tongue so that I speak words that are uplifting for you and your kingdom, Jesus. These and all other blessings I ask in your name. Amen.
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 Uh, I tell you. All right. So, Pam, I did a quick intro before, but no one heard all of the wonderful things I had to say about my friend, Pam Cooper. So, let me do it again.
Okay.
Pam Cooper has a wide range of community networking uh, and a wide background in professional community outreach, if you will. Pam is a life coach. Pam does pre planning for mortuary care. She also works with Morehouse School of Medicine's research and outreach community. Pam is the director that heads up our RV that goes out into the community, partnering with churches and different community based organizations to talk about healthcare. Um, and I just am so excited to have her on tonight because if you've ever been to an event where Pam Cooper has anything to do with it, you are in for a treat because she brings out everybody to these events. What sticks out in my mind, Pam, is your community engagement event where the community comes together and they have an opportunity to experience Morehouse School of Medicine and the different research and health check and just the gamut. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you introduce yourself and talk about it a little bit.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Bridget. I am just
Hi.
so excited and honored that you invited me to this magnificent platform of just letting the community know about what's going on. We talked about financial freedom, and I was like, well, hey, I'm not a financial analyst, but after I thought about it, any of us that have any type of funding or money that we have to manage every day, at some point or another, we become experts, right?
That's
Whether
right.
we good at handling it or whether we're challenging or whether we're overflowing, we're able to do it. And I appreciate you so much. You know how much I love myself some Bridget Miller. And to be able to bring this unity back together is nothing but God's design order. We talk about him ordering our steps, and
Mhm.
that's exactly what he's done with you and I. Our steps
Yes.
have been ordered, and I just thank God for being able to come on this evening and just talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, if I can.
Yes.
But I enjoy community. Community is my heart. I got started in this, I guess, when I was really young. Actually, my mother, whenever she baked cookies or any type desserts, or if we had candy in the house, I would always sneak some out of the house, just to take outside and give to the kids outside that I played with, just so they could gather around me and be my friend. And I said, well, I had this at an early age. You never know where your destiny is. I thought nursing was it, and all of the physical therapy was it. But then I got to a point in life where my niche, and that's about finding your niche.
Right.
My niche was actually community, and I enjoy community. I enjoy networking, and what can I say? I just love my people.
Awesome. You do, Pam, and you pour your heart into everything you do. And I think, we look at, as you said, financial freedom in so many different ways. And when you love what you do, that's freedom.
Yeah.
And it comes out, coming back to the institution. I said to someone, I said, my church community can use some things in terms of healthcare. Do we still give out the blood pressure cuffs? And the first name the person said was, you need to connect with Pam Cooper. And I said, you are absolutely right. I do. And as faith will have it, a day or two later, you showed up at my door. And I said, you know what, Pam? Nothing but God.
Nobody but God.
Nobody but God would send you my way. He knew what I needed. And so, Pam, talk about what you're doing with the RV.
We were blessed to get the RV back in 2012. We do a lot of research here at Morehouse School of Medicine. I always say we're a best kept secret because we've done so much research with, NASA and so many other entities that we're not always in the media about because so many other people are. But I've learned that being quiet sometimes can make you greater. Um, we I decided that we needed something where people wouldn't have to come to the center. Everybody don't have the transportation, and a lot of research that we were doing and that we often do is for minorities, for our community. Because so many times we are the ones that have challenges as it relates to getting access to health care. So I wanted to get an RV. I wanted us to go out in the community and be able to do point of care services like blood pressure checks and sugar checks as most people call it, and just be able to provide that service and do research right there, right? So
Right,
I went to Dr. Philly and I came up with the idea and I started calling these RVs because it was actually around this time of year when it struck my mind to ask different companies, would you donate? Because it was at the end of the year and I'm always taught, you know, dealerships get rid of stuff at the end of the year, right?
right,
So unfortunately, at the time, no one could. So I went back to Dr. Phil again, and we got a grant, and that's how we got the grant to go out and do community services out in the community. Um, we've done research where we've actually done clinical trials out in the community. And what I like about it is there are so many people who don't necessarily have insurance to go to the hospital or to the doctor to get checked. And sometimes participating in a clinical trial allow you to get those exams that at no cost to you. You don't have to worry about insurance. There are things that, you normally would have to wait until you having some symptoms before you would get certain tests. So this was an opportunity for us to go out, and I was so happy when Dr. Ophelia agreed with me that we go out and we get this RV. So we've had it since 2012, and when I tell you we have been everywhere, it brands Morehouse when we hit the road because it's like 38 feet with 2 exam rooms and a triage area. So we're able to just go out and serve the community like no other because, of course, we're leading in the creation and advancement of health equity, okay?
that's right. And we will not forget that. But
We will not.
what the one thing as you bring that up that came to mind when I left Morehouse School of Medicine, and 2020 and all of the things that came with 2020, COVID, of course, and the way that it hit our community was just like a storm, and it impacted just about everybody, whether it was an uncle or aunt or even a close family member.
Mhm,
And I remember we quote that saying, but it became such a staple for me because I saw it.
mhm,
We talk about health disparities and how our community does not get the same opportunity for health care. And the president has really, really, hammered that in for us. But I saw it firsthand. I knew it, but when you see it, it's very different. It looks very, very different. And also, the way you rally the community around when you have these healthcare events. There are people that are getting mammograms that may not have gotten mammograms in the past. um, the COVID vaccine, that bringing it to them, bringing these services to them, and let's just talk about food sources. You
Mhm.
know, giving away food bags, or bags of food with nutritious things in it, and then teaching them about the nutrition. Um, One of the studies that I saw was on, the fast food and the dollar menu, right? Nothing healthy on that dollar menu, but that's what's affordable. So talk about that a little bit, Pam, and how you brought fresh fruits and vegetables, and made the given the knowledge of the benefits of the fresh fruits and vegetables to our community, and even some gardens, local gardens.
You know, when we do community engagement, a lot of times, and it actually started when we just wanted to have a special day actually here in the research center for our employees. And I wanted to do something a little different in order to encourage them to get screened, because a lot of times, even in a work setting or a work environment, a workplace environment, we don't realize that sometimes we're so busy taking care of the job that we're not taking care of ourselves.
Right.
So it actually started with the market, where we went out and bought fresh fruits and vegetables. I went out to the farmers market, and everybody was so shocked when employees came into the building. Where we actually gave, they were going, "How much is it? How much is it?" And we actually started making it look like the corner country market, where we had the fruits and vegetables out, but it was an incentive for them to get screened. And if they got screened, if we had 20 vendors, they had to go to at least 16 in order to get a bag. The pandemic has been very interesting for us, right? Inflation. I mean, and they're predicting that inflation is not going anywhere right now because of the pandemic. When you go to the grocery store, what you used to spend $60 for now, if you're able to afford it, you're spending 160, and you say, well, what did I get? So one of the things we learned early on is we can go out and tell everybody to eat healthy, eat healthy, eat healthy, 5 fruits and vegetables a day. When we grew up, it was always an apple a day will keep the doctor away. We would talk that in grammar school. But here's the deal with it. Everybody can't afford to eat healthy. I mean, it's very expensive if you don't know how to do it. So I think part of what we try to do, even with some of the studies we have here that are looking at nutrition, and how the metabolic syndrome, you can't see me, but I got the metabolic syndrome around my belly,
Right.
So it teaches us how we are able to eat, based upon our budget. A long time ago when we were coming up, if we want to be real about it, hey, you could go out and your mom can get in that kitchen, baby, and whip you up some knit bones and cut up a piece of cabbage and but it was fresh food. It wasn't, I listened at them talk about organic. We our let's be real. Our parents were organic years and years ago
Yes.
because they went out in their yard, they dug up that dirt, they fertilized it, they put that meat in the smokehouse, and it wasn't going through all this processing that we do today. So we've been organic farmers a very long
Right.
time. So a lot of times when we go in the store and we got to buy organic, it's so much more expensive
Yeah.
than just the regular stuff that we buy. So our society places it where we have to brand particular things for us to be able to do it right. It's a branding, it's a marketing concept. But when you look at the fact that you can go in your kitchen, if you got to eat a can of beans or a can of corn, the key to it is rinsing it off, get all that sodium off of it, rinse it
Mhm.
off a little bit, and then put it in your pot. And a lot of times, if you're using different types of seasonings, you don't have to put that salt and pepper on it. It's
Right.
just a matter of you learning.
Right.
You can teach yourself how to eat, and that's kind of what we were doing with the RV a little bit. We would take it out. We had one of the baddest bio nutritionists you could ever ask for, Kay Milkane, who would take this puppet show out for the young kids kids to even know how to eat. So when we talk about community and eating, we talk about the deserts, the desert zones, that we used to call it right over here at Morehouse School of Medicine. We used to call that corner up there the cardiac corner, because it had Church's Fried Chicken, Popeyes, the Hardest supermarket that had the pig ears, the pig feet, the everything. So that was cardiac corner up there, right? So, but
Right.
here's the thing about that, that was how our community, that's all we had. Everybody didn't have transportation to go to the nearest Kroger or could afford Publix, because Publix is so much higher than other stores. So they kind of had to go to the little corner store where one can of beans would cost them $2, where if they had gone to Kroger or Publix, they could probably get $3, $4. So we had to learn how to educate our community on what's best for you. And that's the same
Right.
thing about financial freedom. We have to identify what is it that keep us with that stronghold of being financially freed. It's not always about money
Right.
to be financially free.
Mhm.
I know in Proverbs 22:7, it states that the rich rules over the poor and the borrower is the slave of the lender. Well, I can agree with that, because when you got bills coming at you left and right, and you got credit cards that you didn't mean to just get up to the point where, they say keep it at least 30% at usage for that good credit score. But let's be real. Sometimes that's hard, especially during times like right now, because things are so high. So you got to swipe, and it's not always your debit card. And
Mhm.
you do feel like you are a slave of the lender, because when that time to pay that bill to come around, you may have it, you may not have it, and you can get so overwhelmed,
Right.
not being able to pay that bill. So being financially free is about health, wealth, being able to be happy. You have to find time for yourself. I had to learn that the hard way, because I'm always, I got to do this, I got to do that. The community, I got to do this. COVID taught me how to finally engage in me, because I couldn't go anywhere. And then I was about to crack up, Bridget, because where I'm going to go? I'm stuck in the house. And, I'm a Hallmark buff, right? So here I am watching Christmas movies all year round, instead of sitting down trying to find out what my next move is, because I'm getting closer to retirement age. So I'm like, what is my next move? So, it's just a whole lot of things that we have to look at when we want to look at financial freedom, when we want to look at eating healthy, when we want to look at so many things. But,
Yeah.
everybody's not a play in the dirt kind of person, as we knows.
Right, right. And that is so true. And the one thing, as I was looking at your bio, a life coach, right? And so we talked about what is freedom for us. And one of the things I'm working on is self-care. We talk about it so much about, our mental stability. And as you just mentioned, we'll take it on, take it on, take it on.
Hmm.
But when do you take care of Pam and take care of Bridget if we're going, going, going? So what is the balance that we have? Because I truly believe that's a freedom too, of having that balance in your life.
One of the things as a life coach is not so much as telling a person what they need to do, it's asking them what is it that make them not be able to do. That word what is so powerful, because it's the beginning of you finding that inner peace that you need, right? For
Right.
me, and it was even before the pandemic, and as your listening audience don't, but for me to be relaxed was to go and take one piece of hair off and put on another piece of hair. I might be blonde today, and I might be a brunette, a blackhead
And
tomorrow.
we love it. It's always on point.
But for me, but for me, that was me sitting in the bathroom, putting me on some music, getting me a Pepsi Cola, and just sitting there doing my hair, closing the world out and just doing my hair. That was the what for me to
Right.
find peace. Sure, I
Right.
got all these other gifts that I know God said make room for me, but have I really tapped into a lot of those gifts? Not so much as a sense that it will make room for me financially, but a sense of me knowing how to do all these different gifts and give them away as gifts. Now, I need to make room financially, and find
Right.
a way, but you have to find your what. And a lot of times we don't want to start with the what, because it requires us to look at ourselves in order
Right.
for us to find that what. So for anybody that's going through anything, what is it that keep you with that stronghold? What is it
Mhm.
that keep you from going to the next phase? What
Right.
is it that just keep you where you can't sleep at night and you don't know which way to turn? What is it that just got you where in the midnight hour that you literally cry yourself to sleep? What is it that when
Right.
you wake up in the morning, that whatever you went to bed with on your mind, even after praying, that you can't even wake up in the morning and say, you know what, God, last night I said I was going to get this to you, but here's Satan coming already, bringing this mess back to me early this morning. What is it? And then
Right.
once you see the what, then you have to say, well, how do I deal with it? I can't tell Bridget how to deal with it. I can't tell your listeners how to deal with it. That's something they have to literally sit down. As a coach, you can only get them to really see exactly what are all the things around you that keep you from going to the next level.
Right.
What is it? What is it that holds you down? What is it? I always tell people I was once young, and I can remember, and I don't mind sharing my story if you don't mind, but I
Mm.
can remember, when I was young, right? I got two stories, right? One financially, I'll start with that one. I was working at Grady full time, going to Georgia State full time. I was having a ball, right? So I applied for my first credit card, which was Riches. Back then it wasn't a Macy's for us, it was Riches downtown. So
That's
I
it.
applied for a Riches card, right?
Uh-oh.
That Friday, I'll never forget. I got home from work. Hey, I'm going shopping tomorrow, right? So on my way out the door, I ended up checking the mail, and there were two more cards, right? J.C. Penney's and Zell Jewelers, right? Oh, I just, at the time, I'm single, I'm working. So I go shopping to Cumberland Mall. I'm excited and I'm swiping. I'm swiping. I'm swiping. I'm just having a ball. Well, at first I did very well with paying those bills off. But as I began to get a car and other things in life that we want, all of that swiping, baby, have stripped me out. Okay, my the creditors was calling, you know, that's when you ignore the creditors because you don't have the money, you don't want to pay the bill. But I learned the best thing to do is to talk to your creditors, sit down, have a conversation with them. I learned that later in life. uh it just got to a point, and I remember getting a judgment file, right? The collectors calling right when I was young. And I remember telling one of them, look, you're not the only one calling. Aunt Penny calling, which was Penny's store. Aunt Penny calling, Uncle Rich calling, and my cousin Zell. So get in line with all of them because I done went with it, right? So I started reminding myself, and for a long time, I realized maybe credit cards just wasn't right for me. So I stayed away from them for years and years and years until I finally went and started buying me a car again. And I couldn't get the interest rate I want because I did not have any revolving credit. I was young, but here's the thing, nobody educated me on credit. Nobody educated me on what it meant. To be able, you're supposed to have a revolving charge account in order for your credit score to really build. So I thought, hey, long as I'm paying my house note, long as I'm paying a car note, I don't have no credit cards. But then I realized why I didn't have a savings account, because I was paying cash for everything that I was buying, right? So you have to find those what's, in your
Right.
life, to make you be able to make the right decisions. And if I can tell anybody who have young children, and I'm meaning them in the 20s because they still children, honey.
Hmm.
We swear we want them out the house at 21, but even when they out the house at 21, they still coming back for food, water, and money.
That's true.
So I advise you to sit down with your kids and ask, say, hey, what are you doing with your money, right? Because when I was growing up, my mother couldn't talk to us about saving. Now, my mom had A1 credit and worked at the little nearby factory. But because my mom was constantly paying her bills, that's all we saw. We weren't taught to save money. We weren't in a family that had entrepreneurship out there, right? So we had to figure it out. But we were told always, you know, having good credit is like having a good name. You can't do nothing without good credit. So we had to learn that as well. So, we just need to know when growing up in life, sometimes we get stuck in bad relationships. I don't know why the spirit just told me to say that. We get stuck in bad relationships that we think are the best for us. I mean, for me, I was going to college and my high school sweetheart, and this was gonna be my husband, honey, with 6 children, and I was gonna have 3 boys and 3 girls, and the big house with the white picket fence all around it. That was my desire. That was my dream. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. It devastated me for a minute, because I'd made so many choices. I transferred from Tuskegee and came to Georgia State so I can be close to my boo. I'm young and dumb and don't know no better and feel like I just got to keep him because I love him so much. But in the end, I ended up, sacrificing a lot of things because I was young and I wanted that family. But then I realized that God gives us gifts to make room for us, right? And at some point in your life, you have to take control of the decisions you make and not be so codependent on something else that you've been taught traditionally is supposed to be the way of life. And once I grew older and I'd started really looking at things different, and I started doing my own research before Google even came about, and learning things around from other people that was older than me and worked around me while I was at Grady, I began to do things differently. So for me, you have to go through a struggle sometimes before you can get to where you trying to get in life. There's always a process in whatever you do. So you need to just always remember that you're not a failure. You're not a failure. We all go through circumstances and situations and adverse events and mess and stuff or whatever you want to call it. We all go through that, but we have to be strong enough and be reminded of that we can do anything. We are the most powerful human beings in the world. Baby, if we stop spinning, the world gonna crash because we do spin. But we have to make sure that we understand where our limitations are. Not just in finance, but where our
Right.
limitations are with dealing with people, dealing with folks. Where our limitations are, some of us, we just feel like we got to make the whole world happy. We got to make everybody in our family happy. There is a such thing as grown folks. Children do become grown. They don't become your responsibility, even if they're in your house. You can cook and feed them when you cook and want to feed yourself. If you don't want to cook, don't cook. Let them feed themselves. We handicap our kids so much. It's not that we don't love them, but we do become a crutch to where our kids cannot be financially freed because we've allowed them not to take stand in being responsible to be a young adult in their lives. So, I might be rambling a little bit, but I want to make sure that I'm able to encourage you, and let you know that, whether your credit score is 580, whether your credit score is 620, whether your credit score is 750, you always remember that you are the child of the king. You will always not be the borrower. You will be the lender at some point in your life. You just got to sit down and find out what the what is in your life that prevents you from doing that. So, and it might not be easy. Somebody might be saying it's easier said than done. I've been there. I wore the t-shirt. I wore the hat. I wore the hair. I wore it all. I understand exactly what you're talking about. But I'm telling you, when you sit down and start with the small things and
Mhm.
move them up out of your life, sometimes the small things are the bigger things that keep you more held bound and frustrated, more so than anything. So, if I can just leave you with a word, it would be the what. What is it?
What the
Not the why,
what?
but the what,
What?
not the why. We know what the whys are, right? Either we love
Mhm.
them too hard, or we want it too hard, or we got to have it. And truth of the matter is, a lot of times when we're spending, sometimes some people are keeping up with the fad, what's going on, what's happening. I've never owned a pair of name brand stuff. If I got it, it's because somebody gave me for a gift, or something like that. Now I walk around here at work, you might be thinking, Pam spent a whole lot of money on clothes. Yeah, Pam will go. I don't shop malls. I pick and choose where I shop. it'll kill me to pay over $40 for a dress. That's real talk. I'll put it back 1,000 times before I pay for it. It got to be something I really want. I'll go get me 100 wigs. But there's even the thing about that. You know, I used to talk about my niece who went out and bought a, she's young, she's in her 20s. So, and I learned this financially from her, just watching her. I used to fuss. You paying $400-500 for a piece of hair. Girl, you crazy. I'm not paying that much money. But then I started to think about it. If she paid $500 for a lace front wig, she's actually doing better than me going out and buy wigs at $20 and $30 each, 4 or 5 of them. You know what I mean? In a month and a half, because synthetic hair don't last long. So, if I'm going out
Pam,
and buy,
Pam, what are we gonna do with you?
if
You were
I'm
doing the
going
math.
out and buy, I'm just trying to do some real budgeting for some of my people right here. If I'm going out, budget 101, hair 101, money 101. If I'm going out and buy $30 and $40 wig in 2 months' time, and I'm buying 6 wigs, because once you wear these things, especially in the summertime, they don't last long. I've spent $500 for something, $400 or $500 for something that all you got to do is wash, dry like it's your own, because it's human hair, and keep knocking. So the moral of that story is just take a look at how you're spending your money.
It's
And
true.
sometimes you might not need stuff in a bundle, but when you add up how many times you use gas to run to the grocery store to buy that little 6 roll of toilet tissue that you're buying, when you could have just gone to Sam's and got, the 24, the 44, or whatever, you saved with gas at $3 and some right now. Just think about how much money you could have saved, not only in gas, but in your time and a whole lot of other stuff. So, the what. Just always remember the what.
Then what?
Yeah.
Pam, you always keep me entertained. Now you know that wig story is gonna stick in my mind, right? Because I want one, but now I got some things to think about.
Yeah.
As we look forward to it, it is true the what and what is our what,
Yeah.
right? That's what we have to think about. Uh, Dr. McCoy says, sounds familiar. Some of the things that you talked about, but that is so true. We have to stop and just let's look at everything.
Yeah.
Because if you are going constantly to the store back and forth, did you really save? Or
No.
did you burn that up in gas and your time going back and forth to the store versus sitting down and planning? That's the key for us. Planning out, and do we truly need it? I
Mhm.
looked at my pantry not long ago as I was going through it, and I said, when I went and made all these purchases, it might have been one of those times where I had this bright idea I was going to do a lot of cooking. And everybody knows me, know that is not something that I just enjoy doing. I just got to keep it real, right? So I wasted the money because now I'm cleaning out the pantry because I got some things with an expiration date and it's going in the trash. So that was not the best use of my resources
And
that
not
God
the best use of your
trusted.
time.
Absolutely. And the waste of my time to go stand in the grocery store and do that. Well, Pam, I always love talking to you because I always get a story that I wasn't expecting. I love what you're doing in the community. Keep doing that. We may say, hey, Louisville, Georgia is just a couple of hours away. Can you bring the RV? We want to have a community event. Can we count on you to help us put it together?
Give me a call, Bridget. If I can make it happen, I'm gonna
I,
make it
I know
happen.
you will. I
I
know
hustle
you
for my
will.
community. So, if it's something we can do, uh, right now the boosters are happening, and as you know, they're changing the age group, all the time. A new variant is coming, and I'm sure another variant gonna come behind that one before
Mhm.
it's all over. But let me tell you something. Please, please get vaccinated. If there's still a lot of people out there, surprisingly, who haven't been vaccinated, and I know everybody got their little issues about it. At first, I did. Let me just be real. I work in research and I work right here at Morehouse. But let me tell you something. I didn't just jump out there at first myself to get it, but more and more and more when I saw people dying. I think 345,000 people died, last year from COVID. And I said to myself, I don't want to be in that number. I love life to the fullest. And if I can do anything to, I know God is in control. Yes, we know God is in control. But he also said, he expects us to have knowledge. Don't perish because
Okay.
you don't have knowledge, and you've gotten a lot of knowledge.
Right.
Media has really given you a lot of knowledge. So go get vaccinated. If you haven't had the flu, go ahead and get the flu done. I've had my flu shot, I've had the COVID
Yeah.
shot. You just need to go out and get it. And I also want to give this information, Bridget. Anyone that has someone, and my prayers are to you and your family, to transition due to COVID, or
Okay.
either if you had another health disparities, but COVID was still connected to it on the death certificate. So many Georgians have not taken advantage of the reimbursement that FEMA have for family members who've been affected by COVID. So if you had someone in your family or you know of someone who has been affected by COVID, who transitioned to eternal life, please go to FEMA's hotline. And Bridget, I'll be able to give you that number probably later
Okay.
posted.
Okay.
But go and fill out the application. You can get up to $9,000 back in reimbursement. And you can also go to Fox 5 Atlanta's website and go to their Good Day program. And they probably
Hmm.
have the video on there as well. But there are so many Georgians who have not taken it, whether you paid it with insurance or whatever. You just have to show the bill, show what you paid, and they will reimburse you up to $9,000 back.
Oh, Pam, thank you. That's good information.
So that's what we
And
do.
that absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And you all, please take that under advisement. We are so sorry for your loss, but here's an opportunity. We know those expenses are quite expensive and came at, such a time that, everybody was already struggling with other things.
Mhm.
So take advantage of it. Many times we don't take advantage of the resources that are available to us. So thank you for sharing that with us, Pam. And again, thank you for joining us. The one last comment I want to say, Dr. McCoy said, hey, keep keeping it real. You're telling my story, and I think we all were right
I'm
there with you, Pam. We could
sorry.
relate. And I, Rich is, my aunt Macy's, I have to keep her in check, inside my wallet so that I don't overdo it and overspend. But this is the last financial freedom for the year. We'll have another one next month, and could not have been better than to have my friend Miss Pam Cooper join us and share her vision of financial freedom. Thank you so much, Pam, and everybody have a good night.
Thank you all. Love you much. Happy holidays. Be safe. And remember to always pay it forward.
Thank you, Pam, always.